The following video was supposed to be uploaded a week ago, but my channel received a community guideline strike because I called out a Nazi back in 2019. Great website. Now, for those of you who either don't create content or are lucky enough to have never received a strike on their channel, a strike prohibits you from uploading onto this website for a whole entire week. Anyway, I plan on getting more in-depth into this in my next video, so for now, enjoy. I don't need to explain the Titanic submersible incident, do I? It's easily the biggest story of the last, 5 days, so if you don't know the story by now, you live under a gigantic rock and I don't know what else to tell you. A bunch of rich people went into a human-sized tin can so they can go see the Titanic wreckage. That's all you really need to know. Currently, it's presumed that they have died due to implosion and not slowly starving to death at the bottom of the sea like a lot of people thought they were. Do I feel bad? Tell you what, I don't feel bad at all for the CEO that was also on board the submersible. Safety concerns regarding the submersible span back to 2018, and during that time, David Lockridge, who was the director of marine operations for this company back then, wrote a document explaining why this submersible was a disaster waiting to happen. What was the CEO's response? Firing him and complaining that people take safety way too damn seriously. He played a stupid game and won a stupid prize, but unfortunately he also took 4 other people with him. But at the same time, and I direct this towards the passengers of the submersible, why did you have to see the Titanic wreckage? There are plenty of photos and videos on Google of the wreckage. Hell, I think even the James Cameron movie had footage of the actual wreckage. But they'd be seeing the wreckage with their own eyes. Not really, because it's pitch fucking dark down there, and they would be seeing it through a screen that was inside the submersible, so the experience wouldn't be that much fucking different. Okay, sure, the Titanic wreckage is a historical landmark, but it is not the same as, say, the Empire State Building or the Statue of Liberty, meaning a historical landmark that you can visit through normal means. This is not something you can dive a few feet underwater and see. The Titanic is like, what, 15,000 feet underwater? Leave the wreckage the fuck alone. It is a mass grave for over 1,500 people who died a horrific death over a century ago. There are so many other ways that you can flaunt your wealth than going under the sea and risking implosion. Because again, it was a bunch of rich people who were on the submersible. It costed $250,000 for each ticket. $250,000 to go look at the mass grave, isn't that so cool? Instead you spent all that money to implode under the sea. And even if the assumption that they imploded is wrong, they are still most likely dead because that submersible was projected to have 96 hours of oxygen in it. Meaning, as of recording this video, oxygen would have ran out yesterday, Thursday. So implosion is the best case scenario, because would you rather be stuck there underwater, slowly starving to death, and losing oxygen at the same time? I sure as hell would not, because in that instance, who the fuck would save them? They were so deep underwater that I don't think they would be able to just simply be carried up. I hope after this we finally agree upon not going down there to gawk at the Titanic wreckage. You're not looking at something spectacular or exciting. You're looking at the remnants of the most famous and one of the worst oceanic disasters in history. It's like going to a mass grave where a bunch of Holocaust victims are buried and going look at all the dead bodies, isn't that so cool? Instead of going to a Holocaust museum instead. If you actually cared about the history of the Titanic and cared about those who perished on it, you would instead be going to a Titanic museum, not visiting the wreckage itself. At least a Titanic museum honors the legacy of the ship and honors those who have either died during the disaster or survived it. What good does commercializing the wreckage itself do? All that does is needlessly put visitors at risk because the wreckage is so deep underwater, and it turns a mass grave of 1,500 people into a stupid tourist attraction for a bunch of rich assholes to gawk at. The only people that should be going down there are actual professionals, ecologists studying the decay of the ship. That's that's fucking it. That wreckage isn't down there for anyone's entertainment. I'm just tired of the commercialization of tragedies in general. Like, I would not be surprised if after everyone who lived through 9/11 is long gone, there will be 9/11 movies and other ways to profit off of that tragedy. You know, kind of like what we're seeing with the Titanic. And by the way, fuck the Titanic movie, more specifically the James Cameron one, because obviously that's by far the most popular one. The recreation of the ship sinking and the shots of the wreckage are of course great, but Jack and Rose... I'm not exactly a fan of taking a real-life tragedy that claimed the lives of 1,500 people to tell a shitty love story. There are plenty of interesting passengers on the ship that actually existed that movie could have focused on. But I digress. I could go on and on about how much I don't like that movie, but that's not the point of the video. That's all I have to say. Bye-bye. Now I gotta wait a week to upload this video, and probably by the time this video goes up, everyone would have already forgotten about this story. Fuck YouTube.